Yeah, okay. It's not the food segment yet. Why are you singing the food intro? Oh my gosh,
it just feels weird
no.
to be back. And at this
No, it's
time, I'd
not
have
the
food.
food segment yet.
Bum,
Right
bum,
now, we're
bum,
talking
bum.
about people's lives. We're getting into people's business. Is your relationship COVID-19 proof? Let's get real with Andrew and Michelle O'Connor. Good morning, Mr. and Mrs.
Good morning.
What a way to look nice and match and all of them something there, like if we're not in the same house. Yes, you are. So, my first question to you before we go any further is, how long did it take before you both got into your first big disagreement slash argument during the lockdown?
Okay,
All
Andrew.
right, thanks for that, Takina. So actually didn't have any arguments. There was a disagreement as it relates to me wanting out because staying home all the while, especially in the early part of the lockdown, was a bit challenging for me. But Michelle was always on my back. You know how women can get.
Yes.
Excuse?
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I
Yes,
need
Andrew,
to
yes.
stay home. Why you have to go out on the road?
Yes.
But it was just going on the road for simple things. So like I used to go to the supermarket almost every day,
For what?
just to get out of the house, because the lockdown was from 6 o'clock. You couldn't go anywhere, everywhere closed, restaurants closed, bars closed. So it was very challenging
So
for
the
me
supermarket
in
was
the
your
early
chill
part.
spot.
Yeah, it was.
yes, Sakina.
What's
Sometimes I'm like, why not just get everything for the month?
Yeah. Well, what's interesting about this couple, a lot of you may not remember, they were on this program before and they go out together. So, like, I remember basketball events, Andrew would be there and his wife would be there. So, I can understand why she wouldn't want him to go out of the house because if he's going somewhere, she would want to come as well. Andrew?
I don't understand. What is this now? This is like a gang of man against woman vibe this
Also
morning. What is
support.
that?
It's
No.
called support doing support.
Okay, what would you say has been the most challenging part of this whole thing as a couple? Let me hear from the lady this time, seeing as though the gentleman already answered the question. Girl power. Girl
All right.
power.
Well, for me, the most challenging part initially was for Andrew to understand that even though I'm working from home, it's no different from him going out. It's actually more challenging. So I'm working from home, I'm managing homeschooling, and at that time, the schools were just getting everything together. So it was very challenging. So
Hallelujah.
when he comes home, I would just take away myself. I just lock myself in the room. So I think that was the most challenging. But the thing is, we had a lot of house projects to do, and we kind of just jumped right in. And also for us to understand that even though we're locked in together, because at some point in time, Andrew worked in St. Catherine, and when St. Catherine was on a lockdown, I think when he heard that he was going to be home for 2 weeks, he was like, "What am I going to do?" Then I'm like, "What? Something's wrong with me. I don't understand." But I think we had a lot of house projects to do, and then we just jumped right into it and started doing those things. I think for us, what worked that did not make it probably worse than it was is to make sure that we kind of stuck to our routine. So I used to work out in the mornings. I still got up and work out. Andrew would work out in the evening. He still did that. So, we kind of kept the routine, so it was a little bit smoother.
Yeah, a very alarming statistic has come up recently about the number of divorces that are happening since the lockdown. What advice do you give? Because I know you mentioned house projects that you guys do together, but what advice would you give couples, whether young or seasoned in their relationship, to keep that fire burning while in lockdown? Because after a while, as Sakina said it earlier, you kind of get tired of the person if you're in the space for too
24
long.
hours a day?
Andrew, you want to go first, or you want me to go?
No, I can go first. All right. So I think if you're with somebody who you really want to spend the rest of your life with, I don't think there's any getting tired of.
That part of the difficult still,
It's true. But as Michelle said, it's very important that you keep your routine that you had, so it doesn't feel like you're so much out of place. So I would definitely recommend that persons try to maintain some kind of routine. Of course, ensure that open communication.
Yeah.
If it is that one person is feeling a little bit too smothered, you need to communicate that with your spouse and don't
Awesome.
harbor it, because these things can fester. So I think it's just very important to communicate and try and keep a routine as much as is possible.
That was a wonderful piece of information. Have the lines of communication open so that you can actually say to your spouse, I need a little bit of space. I think that's probably the most important thing.
Yeah, communication is big. It has to be one of the cornerstones of a relationship, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, most definitely.
So how do you manage being parents in this time and a couple? How do you manage to keep your relationship alive while having the kids at home during school time, then having them at the night, and I tell somebody this morning that I did not sign up for 24-hour motherhood. Like, I signed up for like 2/3 of the day, and then the teachers would take the rest. And now it's like all the time, round the clock. So how do you manage as parents being home together with the kids?
Sakina, it can be very overwhelming, and especially because the kids aren't out, so they're not exerting as much energy, so they're not as tired, so they're not going to their bed as early. So it was hard. What that meant for us is that we were going to our bed much later, just to get some alone time.
Yeah.
I think now that things have kind of opened up a little bit more, you know, Josh is able to go to football, still exercising the social distancing. But it can be hard. I think what we had to do is incorporate him in the activity. And I completely agree. We never signed up for 24-hour parenting. And I encourage couples to get help. I mean, we have spoken to couples who also have children to even see how it impacts the intimate part of their life. And because Josh, our son, he's seeing us all the time and he's with us all the time, he feels that he should really be with us all the time at night, morning, noon. And I'm just like, we need a break.
Yes,
we need
please.
air.
Yeah, and one thing that came up during this time is that we understood that Josh's love language is really physical touch and quality time, because as Michelle said, he doesn't give us a break. At times you want to say, just go sit down and leave us alone, but we have to understand that we are his only outlet now, because he's not out with his friends, he's not out at school. He literally just at home almost all of the day, all of the week. So, you know, we have to try and balance his need for, you know, to display his love language, as well as our need to be alone, to be a couple.
Guys,
and I like that part, because the lockdown isn't all doom and gloom, because now you're learning about your son, you're learning about each other.
Yeah, that's true. And we learned a little bit more than probably. I think COVID has allowed us to move a few years in the marriage, you know, because we started doing things that we never planned to do. Seeing that we're here together, let's just find something to do before we get under each other's skin.
Wonderful. We're going to count 2020 as a decade, and you can just add that into your anniversaries when you're celebrating it. Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah.
I hope it keeps going well for you, and I hope you hold on and hang on in there. And sometimes Josh really can go play by himself.
Yeah. And they say if you survive COVID-19 together, it's worth holding on to.
Aww.
I agree.
Amen.
Thank you guys for sticking around with us. We will be right back. The O'Connors, they're doing it strong.
Yeah.
Hang in there.
Home projects.